In today's video, I'm here to talk to you about what you need to know to create a secure retirement, where to draw funds from, and when. You see, when you're working, you have a paycheck coming in every 2 weeks and you can sleep at nights and it's just there. But when you retire, that paycheck goes away and now it's up to you to figure out where you're going to get that income from and where you're going to replace that paycheck with. So I struggle with this. I still lose sleep over it. When I pull income out of my retirement account, I still cringe. I'm getting better, but I used to almost throw up. It was that bad. But that's why we saved all that money all these years, was so that we could have this retirement and have income coming in when the paychecks stopped. So even though logically I know that's what it's for, I still struggle with it a little bit. But I've also learned, and I'm still in the process of learning, where to pull income from first. Because I'm all about making your retirement remarkable. And part of that to me means structuring your income so that you're paying the least amount of taxes. So today we're going to peek at where to take your income from first after the paycheck stops. I'm Maureen Dabrowski. This is Life Starts at Retirement. I produce a retirement lifestyle video every Monday morning. Now, first, I want to make sure that this is clear. I'm so not a financial planner. This is not considered financial advice. Heck, I'm just a frustrated Canadian that was struggling with all of the retired information about retirement out there and decided to do something about it. And also, these are just my thoughts today. As I move forward down the path of retirement, I might learn new strategies, new things. I might go back and say, ooh, that didn't work for me as I thought it would. So I might change my mind. I would love to hear, though, if you have different strategies, if you have other thoughts, please share them with me. That's how we all learn, and that's how I learn. Now, when the paycheck goes away, I've learned it can be really overwhelming to understand where you should pull income from first. But not just that, but if you pull income from the wrong place at the wrong time, it could really potentially lead to paying more in taxes than you need to, and then less money in your pocket. So, but once you retire, it's really up to you to create your own paycheck. Your salary's gone, and it's up to you to determine where your income is going to come from. And I guess I really never thought it through about where people get their income. I knew it would come at some point, but it's here right now, and now I need to learn all of this. So most people get income from a few different places and a few different accounts. So you probably have a work pension, or maybe possibly a work pension. That would be nice, less and less today. Maybe government income, maybe rental income, maybe any retirement accounts that you have. So it's often not even just one paycheck that you're creating, but numerous ones. And that's what gives us this question. How can we combine these series of many, 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 many paychecks to replace the one big check that we have, so that it still gets you the lifestyle that you want and you pay the least amount of taxes? Whew, big question. So I'm going to start with the first thing that I think we need to do. Number one, I think we need to understand what fixed income sources that you have. It could be you have a government pension. It could be you have a work pension. You have rental income. You have anything that comes in automatically where you don't need to get it from your retirement portfolio. We start here, I think, because it's just like building a house. You need a good base to start with, or you can't fasten the walls to anything. So step number one is understanding how much income is going to be coming in before we look elsewhere for it. That to me is step number one. Step number two is now to understand the difference between your fixed income sources and your level of expenses, your lifestyle, etc., that you want to have to make your retirement remarkable. So we know we have this much income coming in automatically, just coming in, but our lifestyle is here. So there's a big difference. We need to understand that difference. So let's just take an example, completely hypothetical example. So assume that you want to have $80,000 per year in retirement income. And let's say that's your goal. Let's say that with your fixed income, you have $45,000. So you need an additional $35,000 a year to come from somewhere else. And I'm not talking anything at all right now about taxes. So now we know then that's step 2. We know that $35,000 is the difference. So now on to step 3. Once you've determined your fixed income, once you've determined the difference or the shortfall between the fixed income and your expenses, step 3 is understanding the different types of accounts that you might have. Now, because I'm Canadian and most of my viewers are from the United States, I'm going to keep this very general and not use account names like IRA or TFSA. I'm just going to keep them general, tax-free, tax-deferred, taxable, so that you can relate what that means in the country that you're in. Most people will have 3 main types of accounts. 3. There are the taxable accounts that you have that might be like an individual account, a savings account, or a joint account you have. Almost any investment account that you have that isn't in some type of a retirement account, those are just taxable accounts. The second type of account that you might have is a tax deferred account where you've been putting money away for a while, it's growing tax deferred, but when you pull it out, it's fully taxable. And then the last type of account that you might have is a tax-free account. So when you pull money out of this account, no taxes, but that's because you've already paid those taxes and you've put it in there to invest. Any money that you invest in that account is also considered tax-free. So those are the 3 type of accounts that you have. Step 3, though, is to learn and to find out how much money that you have in each one of those 3 different types of accounts and how much it's growing, hopefully growing. Now, most people say, or many people say, that it makes sense to spend the taxable account first, spend the individual accounts and brokerage accounts, to spend those first, because any tax deferred accounts or tax-free accounts, they're growing inside of their tax-free, and we want to preserve those as long as you can. And yeah, I like that theory if the good old government didn't have creeping tax brackets. So if you only had to pay one tax level, I would say absolutely, no matter what income you have, that's the best strategy. But of course, the government, the more you take out, the more they want. They have these creeping tax brackets. So that leads us, I guess, to step number 4. Step number 4 is to research your country, your state, your province, the tax brackets, and know them. So typically there'll be 2. For us, it's a province or a state taxable amount and a country taxable amount, typically. But make sure you know those for where you live. Now for the strategy. Remember, we want to focus on how to minimize the overall tax bracket throughout retirement, which is something that I think is very, very important, and really what I think is one of the main drivers of where you should pull funds from first in retirement. So let's get back to that previous example. If you need $80,000 worth of income and you have $45,000 in fixed income, you need to pull $35,000 from some kind of a retirement fund. And then if you look at your federal and local tax brackets, you'll know that once you hit a certain taxable income amount, once you hit that, your very next dollar will be taxed at the higher rate. Depending on where you live, once you jump into that next higher tax bracket, it can be a significant jump. So if you need $35,000, if you take it all from your tax deferred account, you'll pay a lower tax rate on a portion of it, but you might pay a higher rate on another portion of it, depending on where that tax bracket jumps in. So, but now the strategy, I guess, if you were to take the maximum up to your one tax bracket, the lower one, and then pull the balance out of your tax-free account, you'll have lowered your tax burden for the year. And I'm all over that. I love this idea. So keeping track of all of your income over the course of a year, when you hit a certain tax bracket, then think about using your tax-free account to pull the rest, to keep your taxes low. So if we have multiple types of accounts, if we have taxable accounts, tax deferred accounts, tax-free accounts, you can take just enough to fill up to that lower tax bracket, which keeps you at the lower rate. And then anything above that, use your tax-free money to supplement it. what you can see from this example is where you should pull money from first in your retirement. Now, of course, there's tons of variables. If your tax-free account has maybe different investments in it, you might not want to do this. If you have long-term investments that you might need to break, you might not want to do this. But each and every one of us are different. But overall, as a tax planning strategy, as income for your retirement, as that kind of a strategy, I love it. If I can pay the tax man less money, I love it. So that's sort of the strategy for this one. It's an intentional approach of where you're going to take the funds from first to keep your tax brackets lower and maintain a better retirement, hopefully throughout your whole retirement. Now, a couple of more things to think about. If you have a pretty sizable tax deferred account, at one point the government forces you to pull money out. I believe it's around 71 or 72 in most countries. Just be aware that you'll have to take out a minimum amount, and that minimum amount increases as you age. So remember that if you live too much on your brokerage accounts in your first few years, by the time you get to 72, 73, 75, you may have to pay a much higher income. You might be in a much higher tax bracket than you anticipated. So just keep that in mind so that you're aware of it. Number two, second thought. I know in Canada, once you turn 65, you can turn your tax deferred account into an income generating account, a RIF. And you can income share with your spouse. So that way you can pull more money out, and it's just income sharing on paper. It's just income sharing on your tax return, but you can pull money out and your spouse can claim a certain amount of income and you can claim a certain amount of income to lower your taxes as well. I believe that same thing is in other countries, but please check it out. If it's possible for you and you can save income simply by income sharing, it's well worth the few minutes it takes to investigate that. And then I've also heard that in the US there are implications for your Social Security taxes and your Medicare, but please get professional advice on how that works. Now, overall as a strategy, to hopefully pay less in taxes, I love it. Again, I'm not a financial planner, so I just would love your thoughts as well and your ideas and any strategies that you have, because I'm all over lowering my income tax burden while I'm retired. I'm Maureen Dobransky. This is Life Starts at Retirement. I produce a retirement lifestyle video every Monday morning, and please consider joining our Facebook group. It's at facebook.com/group/Life Starts at Retirement.